A report just released criticizing the Kansas voter ID law. Tonight, Secretary of State Kris Kobach is fighting back against claims that some Kansas voters were denied their right to vote. 41 Action News anchor Cynthia Newsom is following this story. And Cynthia, this report really struck a nerve on both sides of the argument, huh?
Oh, yes, it did. Now, this is the report from the Kansas Advisory Committee to the U.S. Commission on Civil Rights. It's a nonpartisan, independent body, but after reading the report and its findings, Kris Kobach called it outrageous. The ACLU hailed it as more proof that the Kansas voter ID law should be repealed. The Kansas Secure and Fair Elections Act, or photo ID law as it's called, requires Kansas voters to show a photo ID at the polls before they can vote. Kansas Secretary of State Kris Kobach is the architect of the law and its defender. The ACLU has filed several lawsuits against it. So when the committee concluded that the law may have robbed some voters from casting their ballots and said it appeared to discriminate against certain ethnic groups, the reaction from opposing sides was predictable but passionate.
So I think this report confirms something that we at the ACLU and other voting rights advocates have been saying for a very long time, which is that the SAFE Act, the voting restrictions in Kansas, are illegal, unconstitutional, and more importantly, are really violations of sort of the core American values that we have of democracy.
My reaction is the report is not worth the paper that it's written on. The members of the Kansas Advisory Committee have a deep bias against the Kansas photo ID law and the Kansas proof of citizenship law. And, we could tell that from the beginning.
Now, the report concludes that the United States Congress needs to come up with new criteria to identify which states need to be monitored under the Voting Rights Act. Live in the newsroom, Cynthia Newsom, 41 Action News.